On this week's episode of the RAG podcast, I am joined by Caroline Harrison. Caroline is the CEO, founder, the owner of two businesses, a recruitment agency that specializes in we're helping brands and marketing agencies grow, called Hybrid, and a tech platform which is there to automate the recruitment process of freelancers to her existing clients called Place.me. I personally met Caroline about 12 months ago at an event. I was massively impressed by her story. And what I loved the most was she was actually the opposite of me. So I was a guy that was an ex-recruiter who started a marketing agency and had never worked in marketing. She was the complete opposite. She was a marketeer that then started a recruitment agency. So I felt like we had something really, really big in common. This week's episode was really honest. She was really humble, and do you know what? She's dropped things in here that I think will help anyone looking to either start their agency or who are already in the early days of their agency. So I really hope you enjoy this episode. Without further ado, Caroline, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
How are you feeling about the environment?
I'm really excited.
You're really excited. When did we first talk about doing it?
We met at the Recruitment Network, didn't we?
We did, but we talked about the podcast recently. Caroline's one of those people that cancelled on me, but you did say there's a good reason.
Business first.
Business first, and I'd always agree with that. But we met at the retreat last year, and I've been dying to hear, to tell your story, because I actually know some of the answers of some of the stuff you're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But I've already given a little intro to you, but for the listeners, could you just give us a real overview of who the hell you are? What do you do right now?
Okay. So right now I am, I hate saying CEO, but director, CEO, founder of a boutique recruitment company called Hybrid, which specializes in the creative marketing industry, so for brands and agencies. And then also founder and director of Place.me, which is a platform which puts our agencies and brands directly in touch with our freelancers. Hybrid has been going, it's boutique, so it's up to 5 people, and I've kept it boutique, so we are agile enough to build platforms and diverse our services. That's been going, this will be its 6th year. Yeah. Place.me, we launched, soft launched last year. We're getting some really good traction from our freelancers. So we've got over 2,000 freelancers on there now. Wow. And we're really working with getting our clients. We've got 4 of our Hybrid clients using it, and just really working on packaging up and monetizing that. But that's a kind of a whole nother ball game at the moment.
Wow.
So.
Wow. So recruitment owner and tech company owner, really?
Don't really know how that happened.
No. Do you know what? I get asked almost every week now, like, how do I productize what we're doing? How do we take all this candidate or client data or both and create that marketplace? I think it's very difficult for people to do that. So it'd be interesting to know more about why and how.
Yeah, I think, I was really naive, and I think that's the best way. I was naive, just decided to do something, didn't realize how much it would actually cost me, the time it would take. And if someone had told me what it would have done, I wouldn't have done it.
Really?
But actually I'm in a good position now. So yeah. So I started off my career in advertising. I worked for Leah Burnett and Oliver. I was client services, and then I, due to a personal reason, actually, my dad got ill. I went into retail. So I used to work for Abercrombie and Fitch, and then went into Estee Lauder and was basically retail manager, so managing stores.
So you originally worked in marketing, brand, and then you went into retail.
Yeah.
How long are we talking about?
So my last retail job was 6 years. Well, this is 5.5 years ago. So
it's actually not that long ago, really.
Not really, but it seems like a lifetime. Yeah.
Well, that's what recruitment does to you, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. And so 5.5 years ago, call it 6. I was running Jo Malone's store. 20 girls in Sloane Square, and I was kind of living in that unconscious competence state where you're on autopilot. Like I know that I didn't need my brain to do the job. It was a great role. But
what were you actually doing in the shop?
So I was a general manager, so I was running the store. So
it's a business role rather than
absolutely a business role. So, managing the P&L of the store and the recruitment, the traffic, everything. And actually I was kind of spread over a few stores as well, but always kind of their highest turnover and most high-profile stores.
Yeah.
But which
you've
was
come
great
dressed
job.
today like you've come straight out of one of those stores. I look like I've just
Still
fallen
haven't
out.
left the.
I look like I've fallen out of someone's lost property basket. So
No.
to let the listeners know I mean, everyone knows that I dress really well. Joke.
You can always tell by your hair.
Oh, my hair's better than my clothes. But I'm currently staying at my mother-in-law's, well, soon-to-be mother-in-law's place, because I've got a flat I'm renovating. My parents are staying at my house.
Yeah.
So it means I'm staying there, and I'm living out of a bag, and I'm driving early morning to get into the office. And long and short of it, today I forgot what I wanted to wear on my feet. So I've got some really dirty gym trainers because I went to the gym this morning.
Yeah.
And it's just not worked out for me today. And
Has it affected your mind?
It's
today?
never. I'm a professional.
Oh, see,
but you've come in and I'm like, wow.
But I'm like OCD and a perfectionist. Like I get out of bed in the morning as I make my bed.
Right.
No wonder I'm single.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I'm really like.
Yeah, but they say that if you make your bed, it leads to a more productive day because you've already delivered.
Yeah.
I always make my bed.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty much perfectionist.
Yeah.
Head to toe, I suppose.
I like it. Well, so you were going back. You were general manager. You were in charge of the whole business. You were running high performance stores. I can see the kind of link between why you would then be good at what we do.
Yeah, but I had no idea about recruitment. I mean, looking back now, I did have like the highest retention, store retention, and I remember my manager saying to me, "God, all the girls from all the other stores want to come work for you." So I obviously had good management skills and quite good at recruitment and retaining staff. But yeah, I knew that I wasn't using my entire brain. Like I was getting, which is wrong to feel like this because it was a good job, but I started feeling like ashamed. I was just not feeling like I'm completely satisfied with what I was doing day to day, but I didn't actually know what to do. I couldn't go back into marketing because I would take a significant pay cut. And then this is when I think everything happens for a reason and people come into your life for a reason. So I actually met a guy called Jeremy Harbour who became a really good friend of mine, and he wrote a book called Go Do.
Right.
And he became a good friend of mine. He was like, you should be doing something else, than just working in retail. And how many hours do you have in the evening? I was like, well, I don't have enough time, or I get home, or do this. He goes, throw your TV out the windows. Like, don't watch any TV. And he goes, it doesn't matter what you do, just when you do it, just start something. And so he kind of inspired me. So it got me thinking about, okay, what else can I do? And it wasn't really about setting up my own business. It's just what else can I do instead of taking, a pay cut. At that same time, my brother, who is a co-founder of Oliver Agency, I was actually on holiday and he phoned me and he was like, we're growing rapidly. Do you know anyone that could fill our 58 vacancies they had at the time?
So he was looking for a recruitment business partner?
Well, he was just looking for, to be honest, they were growing so rapidly. They didn't have any in-house talent. The advertising industry is so sociable, and all my friends and my network from that time were still my friends, and he was really just ringing up saying, do you know any people to fill these roles? And I was just like, actually, I'll ask around. And so I started putting him in touch with people, and I was like, what is this? This is recruitment. Okay, I can do this. Shall I do this? And
did he offer any money for the people?
No. But
Leo.
Then, it was just put me in touch with these people. We need these people. I was like, okay, fine. But I didn't even think anything of it until there's a few people that I put in touch with. I thought, okay, I'm quite good at this. Like I'm matching people really well. Like I'm selling the agency well. I'm getting the right candidates. So okay, this is recruitment. So okay, I'm going to set up a recruitment company. And it wasn't, should I go into recruitment?
Did you know anyone who worked in recruitment?
No, I didn't even know. I didn't. And this is when I think being naive and going to something it was quite a blessing. Yeah. If someone told me, well, you need to be able to make this many phone calls and, have this amount of network and do this, I probably wouldn't have done it again. I was just like, oh.
Well, this is the exact opposite of my story, right? So I was a recruiter for 7 years. Made loads of money, was about to set a recruitment company up, and then started a marketing agency, having never worked a day in marketing. Yeah. Not even for a minute.
Yeah.
And I had a mate that was the marketeer, but he was from in-house, not agency either. So we knew we had enough knowledge of what we needed to do. But if someone would have told me the things I've had to do since, no chance I'd have done.
Sometimes
I'm glad now, but it is that I think there's like a purity to naivety if you've got the energy.
Yeah.
You kind of you just see things quite clear.
Yeah, and do you know what? Often all you need to start a business is a customer, right?
Yeah.
You just need a customer, and I had a customer, and I just had to go and find the candidates. So I decided, okay, I'm going to set up a recruitment company. I had no money. I was breaking even, and the money I did have was going on makeup, cosmetics, and the Jo Malone discount that we got. Yeah. So I was, no money, but I wanted to sustain my lifestyle in London. So I decided for 8 months, I was going to set up the recruitment company on the side and still work at Jo Malone. So I was like, okay, well, what's this company going to be called? We had a wine night at Leo's with his girlfriend, who was a designer at the time. We're like, okay, so what should we call it? And talking to my friends, and a lot of them were freelancers at the time, they were feeling frustrated that they weren't jack of all trades, but they didn't want to pigeonholes, but they were multi-skilled. And I think there was this real kind of lack of them being represented as multi-skilled unicorns, as we call them now in hybrid. And thankfully, we did go down the route of calling the recruitment company hybrid, because now it's so fitting. The agency landscape has changed so much, with Oliver putting people on site, and the AM partnerships, which is another one of our clients, putting people on site. They require hybrids. They require designers to be client-facing and account manage, project managers to be client-facing. So we actually really got it right. And a year into it, clients would phone us going, I've got this brief and we need a bit of a hybrid, and it just really worked. So
well, is that why you came up with the name, because people told you that?
I came up with the name really from my freelance influencers. Influenced me because they were frustrated at being pigeonholed.
Used in any other sector, or
no cars? That was it. So it's fine.
So, I mean, it's a cool name. I like
and it's so fitting, especially now to the agency landscape and what's happening. And just to jump forward, and that's not what we're going to talk about now, but how we're even evolving as a brand. So hybrid is now humans and technology. So whereas our branding's humans and animals, now it's going to be humans and robots and technology, because that's where we're taking our services. So.
Well, it's still a hybrid.
Yeah.
So take me back to that wine night. Was that the night that you kind of said, right, I'm doing this? Or would you
that was like, okay, this is what it's going to be called. And it was really mainly freelance at that point, just because it was quicker to actually place.
Did you know, how are you going to charge, and would you...
No, do you know what? I had no idea, and I didn't even know how to write an invoice. Yeah. I actually, Leo, even though Leo was a co-founder of Oliver, I still had to go and pitch to Simon Martin, and that was like Dragon's Den. I had to walk in, pitch, and he was like, "I'll put you on 12%. I know you're on bad, Caroline." I was like, "Okay, thanks." So I scuttled out of there, and I was like, "Right, well, I've got my first client, whatever it's a client at 12%," And then I started, so I bought a MacBook Air, and I literally started it. So I would get up at 5 a.m. and start reaching out to clients on email, drafting them at 5 a.m. so people wouldn't think I was out or anything. And then started walking to work, getting the bus to work, so I could link in with candidates on obviously LinkedIn, calling them. And then in my lunch break, and
so instead of getting on the underground where you would be shut, that's clever.
I just started walking.
That's really clever.
I had to get, I had to use as much time as possible, because retail also, you're working a lot of hours. And in my lunch break, I would have an hour, and they're very strict on that. I had to be back in store after my hour. I would run out and I would do back-to-back interviews with creative directors, and these are 100k guys, and I really only had Oliver to talk to them about that time, but because I knew about the industry and I had a passion for it anyway, it was always a good conversation, so that was fine. And I'd do my back-to-back interviews whilst having lunch, and then run back in and manage 25 girls.
Wow.
And they had no idea where I'd been, which was quite funny. And I did that, and then I didn't have time to the gym, and that's quite important to me. So I started running home, and then Skyping people when I got back. So quickly put on some makeup, put on a shirt. I'd have joggers on the bottom, and Skype my candidates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I did that for 8 months.
How did you get on?
I remember waking up one morning and I couldn't move my neck, and my mum was like, "I think you're gonna have a breakdown." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm nearly there. I've nearly matched my salary." And it was like a 40k salary or something I had to match. So I got to the point where it was getting really tough. Hybrid was, really getting some traction. Also, I was terrified every day if I was at Jo Malone's store that one of my clients or candidates were going to walk in.
That's a big
point. And see me
Yeah.
behind the till standing there. I was terrified daily that I was going to get found out.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that takes a massive amount of commitment. I mean, I've started waking up at 5 in the last 2 months. Totally different reasons. I mean, mine's more of a personal kind of just to give myself some headspace and all sorts. But it takes it out of you, and that's trying to like, because I've got a wedding I'm planning, I've got a house I'm renovating, I've got 2 businesses now that I'm leading. Yeah. And you're like, where's the time for you just to think? Yeah. So that's my motivation to get up, and I do it, and it's great, but. Yeah. To do 2 different jobs, like they're not even connected really.
I know.
One's just paying the bills,
I
one's your
literally
career.
feel like I was like in 2 marriages or something. I was like living 2 different lives for like.
Were you able
8
to
months.
keep any kind of social life up or friendship groups? Or?
No. I kind of probably went off the radar for like 8 months.
But that's the sacrifice you need to do.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think with Jo Malone, I needed to be there. I needed to be present, but it didn't need my brain at that point. Like I needed to be present. I knew what I was doing every day. I had the job nailed, you know. So I could have my brain capacity somewhere else. But it did get tough. I mean, up to Christmas, where Jo Malone do like 40% of their business, like it was crazy, and it was getting really, really hard. So I had I reached about, I'd like build like 40K by that time, which is pretty good considering I didn't know what I was doing. And then obviously on LinkedIn, I had to be a bit careful because they couldn't know about me moonlighting. And
what made you decide to stop and leave and go for it?
So I just reached the point where I'd matched my salary, and I thought, well, I can't leave with just one client. So I went and pitched to another one. Again, like all smoke and mirrors. I sat there and I was like,
this is the one where you said you sat outside, wasn't it?
He sat me outside. I don't know if I should say the agency, but it was ages ago now. But it was a big network agency, and he sat me outside, and it was a really sunny day, and I was sweating. I was thinking, oh God, he's gonna, find out that I'm just a girl with a laptop at Jo Malone. But I was like, no, it's hybrid, and we have our offices are in Battersea, and we turn over this. We've got this amount of staff, and the fact is, yes, it is smoke and mirrors, but you've got to start somewhere. But it was absolutely smoke and mirrors. And I remember walking out there going, oh my God, like, I feel like I need a medal. And I remember phoning my mum going, I just got another contract. Like,
He said yes.
Yeah, so I then had 2 clients. I didn't want to leave with just one and put all my eggs in one basket. Yeah. So I left, and I was then full-time hybrid, which was amazing. Then I was living with my friend in Battersea at the time. He actually moved to live with his girlfriend, and my brother split up with his girlfriend. So we were kind of, well, why don't we just live together? We're really good mates. So I moved in with him in his place in West Kensington. But I was like, Leo, I've got a startup, so can I pay no rent or can I have reduced rent? He was like, yeah, I get it, fine. You've got a startup. You can have no rent if you do my washing and ironing for a year. I was like, no problem. Yeah. So never be afraid to graft and work. So fine, moved in, was doing his washing and ironing, and very quickly, Oliver was growing. I was very lucky to have one client that was growing very, very rapidly. Yeah. And
did you not pull each other's hair out though?
Huh?
Did you not pull each other's hair out living together?
No, we're like best mates. Really? Yeah, we got on really well. I mean, sometimes when he's, if it wasn't tidy enough, maybe he'd say something. But I'm rent-free, and I'm basically living with my biggest client, my accountant, my mentor. Yeah. And it was at that stage, actually, I remember he often, looked over my P&L because he taught me how to create a P&L and things like that, and just wanted to make sure I was on the right road with things. And one day he was like, I think we should look at your P&L and see how you're doing with business. I was like, okay, yeah, fine, and cool. And he looked over and he's like, you're making how much? And I think at the time I was like netting like 12 grand a month.
Wow.
Mainly in my pajamas and gym kit. And he was like, you can start paying rent. I was like, no, the deal was like 6 months. I'm a startup. Yeah. And I think then I had to start paying some rent.
I can see why.
And that's when I said, oh, well, I'm not such a silly little sister. Yeah. And not that he ever thought I was, but I said that. And I actually then started writing a book and just noting all these things, basically.
Wow, that's exciting. So what year was that? 5 years ago?
Yeah, so 5.5 years ago. Well, 6 years really. So that was 5.5 because I did the 8 months at Jo Malone in 2014, and it got to a point at Leo. So I was working out of his spare room, and I reached plateau really.
Did you enjoy that? Like you say, gym pajamas and leggings style?
I think, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I couldn't believe how much money I was making. I'd always broken even. I'd never been, had disposable income. And I was like, this is amazing. And, I turned over like $500,000 on my own. I did like 250 net. And I was like, but I was like sleeping in between calls. I was having naps, I was having a 20-minute cat nap. Like I was so focused, like it was ridiculous. I would work every evening, every weekend, just because I think it was a whole new experience. And I was learning every day I was outside of my comfort zone, which is the best place for me to be. And it got to a point then when I was like, I watched enough Friends in the afternoon and been in my pajamas, so I was like, I should probably move into an office. And I moved into Moorgate and hired my first staff. Yeah.
So when was that?
So that was, that was in the first year, so 2015.
So one thing about this podcast is I've already had messages from people, and I think I'm reaching two types of people. It's the guys or the guys and girls that are currently in the early phases of building their agency.
Yeah.
And there's also the people that haven't started yet. So they're thinking next year, whatever. And especially those people have got the fear of, will I make money? What's it really like?
Yeah.
Will I get bored? Am I going to miss the backing of the agency? Now, I guess you didn't know anything better because you'd never worked in an agency. But what do people need to really think about in that first year? What do they need to make sure they focus on the most to get to the point where you got, which was to move out and get in an office and start thinking about hiring people?
Do you know what? I just grafted. And I think first of all, setting up, like, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. I mean, moving with your parents? The most successful people I know were 40 and they actually were living with their parents. Yeah. So what's the worst that can happen? So definitely try and, you shouldn't have any fear, like just be fearless with it. But just hard work. Like I cared so much. Like every role that came in, small or large, whatever fee I was put on, I delivered. You take everything. I took everything I was given, every role, even if I didn't have any idea if I could fill it. I was like, I'll find out how. Yeah. So absolute focus and dedication. And I think, and especially with recruitment, I think we all know you get out what you put in. It's really simple with that.
I think one of the biggest challenges is when and I look at myself and I think, right, I came to London in 2012. I'd done just under 2 years in Australia. I'd not really made any money. I'd done loads of deals, but in Australia I was on this mad team with no commission structure. Long story, but I knew I had the skills, but I'd not seen any cash. So when I came to London, I did 6 months of no deals really, and then I just went through the roof and I started banging them for fun, and I started making more money than I ever knew was possible, and I was taking home about 9-10 grand a month as working for someone else. So I was making a lot for them. And then when I started going, right, I'm going to set my own up, then you've got something to lose. Do you know what I mean? Then you've been used to earning a certain amount of money, you've got something to lose, and then it's like, was it really me, or was it the brand, was it the team, was it I don't know anything about the back office. I didn't get involved in finance, and what was even written in those contracts. And there's so many things that started to get in my head. Yeah. That I think, look, I broke through it and I ended up starting a different agency. But the point being, I think that's what's blocking or really gets to people.
Yeah, you're right.
Kind of missed all that.
I was just like a newborn. And I was just like, I've got a client or I've got a candidate. And I didn't
Here's
even
a fee, I'll have it. I'll take it all.
I didn't even worry about, I just, what did I do with contracts? I think I just got my competitors off the internet and,
worked it out.
Yeah, worked it out. And the little stuff I didn't worry about. Yeah.
Would you now though if you started again?
So Place Me. Yeah. Again, actually, did I?
But that's a tech
maybe this is actually just a personality trait. I do tend to jump in 2 feet and then go, what am I knee deep in? Yeah. Which worked out with Hybrid very, very well, because I think it was very clear I had a customer and a client. I think if you've got a customer and a client, or you've got a problem to solve, you're fine. Place.me is different. I built a bit of tech and we're kind of figuring it out as we go, but
different models. It's not like, and again, it's not all dependent on you.
But I definitely think the fear, the blockers are, the more you know, the more fear blockers there are. 100%.
Yeah, because you can create scenarios over and over again. Yeah. So what happened at the end of that? You got into WeWork. Tell us what went on from there. Got into WeWork.
I made a couple of hires from competitors. Fine. They did well for a bit. Then very actually quickly, I remember looking at my time. So this is probably 2 years in. 2.5 years in, looking at my team going, they were all dual desk, so doing perm and freelance, and looking at them doing freelance, and they were ringing around checking availability of freelancers. I was just like, there must be a smart way of doing this. Like, surely, like, this is a waste of time. You should be ringing around and spending time on higher margin roles and more perm and actually more consultative roles than placing freelance. That can be automated. Yeah, and this is when, you know, there is one competitor application out there, and I was feeling the squeeze of my clients, kind of exploring the use of them as well. So being small, you know, you feel the changes in the landscape quicker.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I started to feel the squeeze of that. So I was like, right, I'm going to build an application to automate all my freelance business. And again, didn't realise like what that means. I got a.
So how many people did you have in the agency at that time?
So I only had three.
They were recruiters.
They were recruiters.
Were they making money?
They were doing good. Yeah, I mean, it was micromanaging. And I think that's very quickly when I wanted to, you know, start the Place.me project, that was hard. And
because you can look at the shiny new thing. And then
I tend to look at shiny new things.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think a lot of business owners in general get blinded by like a vision and an idea.
Yeah.
But actually, that's what's paying your bills, and that's what you've built your name on.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to manage too.
And you know what? And I've always had I've been lucky. I've got a really good network of people around me. But what has been really hard, and I think you might find this, when you're doing it on your own, you don't have a structure, is, you know, you go through a lot of dead ends, and, you know, successes like this, it's not straight. And so hybrid, I always knew was my bread and butter. They were doing well, but when I decided to commit and build Place.me, I did actually scale back down the business just to me.
Right.
Because it got to a point where I was too stretched, you know, neither are going to be successful, and it was the right thing to do. Also, the consultants at that time, I weren't doing great, so I made that decision.
One question I've got is always about like that jump from doing your own job as a recruiter to managing other people, and like that, I've talked about this, I think, on the podcast before. Like that was the biggest time for me that I struggled with, because I was doing 700k on my own, and then they're like, my boss was saying, well, now we want you to turn that into a few million, and the only way you're going to do that, Sean, is by hiring people. Like, you're not going to you'll hit 1 million on your own. We're confident of that, and after that, you'll probably pass out. Yeah. The phrase my old boss, if he's listening, Steve, I still remember this. He said, I could pay you £1 million a year to kick a box around the room. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, I could give you a cardboard box now, and I'll give you £1 million to just kick it up and down all day, every day. You'd probably take it, wouldn't you? I was like, £1 million? Yeah. He's like, yeah, but you'd probably last 3-4 days, maybe a week, and you'd ask for a 30k job, because it's not a good job. And he was like, and you're gonna get that way with billing. He said, you're gonna get to the point where it's just not gonna satisfy you anymore.
Yeah. So
I was like, in my head thinking, well, actually, I want to set up a company in the next 2 years. So if I can learn on their money now how to turn me into 6-7 people, that's a fucking good deal. Now I ended up earning a lot less, and I went through loads of stresses, and I think the grey hair came as it was. I was joking.
It's alright, it's good though.
Oh yeah, now at the time I was shitting it, but that was such a big moment for me, and I've heard 1 million conversations of people saying it's similar. So to go from you've managed people at Joe Malone, and potentially in the agencies, marketing agencies, to then learn recruitment on your own and then hire people. How the hell did you do that?
As I said, I just think that was a really long-winded question. I think I do well outside of my comfort zone. I generally, now I'm in a good position with hybrid, but Place.me, as I said, is different. But generally every day, I really don't know what I'm doing. You know, a lot of the time. True, But I sat at a breakfast meeting with the CMO of a really big brand once, and he was on this, I don't know if I was allowed to, but this training course, and with all CEOs of big brands, and all of them were asked one question. It was, what do you fear mostly on a day-to-day basis? And they all wrote down in a different way, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. And I think it's being okay with that. And I'm absolutely
being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that's when I know I'm moving forward.
Yeah.
If I know what I'm doing day to day and can nail everything, I'll be bored instantly. Yeah. So yeah, it was tough.
Did you go out and seek advice or support from experienced
Yeah, and that's
people?
one thing one advice that I would give, and I'm really good at I ask and ask and ask and ask. I'm not afraid of asking for help, for advice, picking up the phone to someone that I perhaps came across, I don't know, even 10 years ago. Like, I will always ask. And I'm like a sponge with the network I have got around me. But
what were the first few hires like, and how did you manage to get them up to speed?
Yeah, well, obviously
or
no
did
one
it work?
talks about, people that don't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, there were some that didn't work.
Yeah.
And
what went wrong?
I think one of them came from a recruitment agency. He overvalued himself in the interview. He sold himself really well on the job, couldn't do it. And, and coming into a startup, being like the second hire is tough.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't right. Then another girl, to be fair, she was pretty good. So for my first 3, I only fired 1.
Yeah.
The other 2, that's when I decided, I hired another 2 after that, and they all did really well, and they were grads, all women actually, all females, and dedicated. They were grads, so they came in knowing nothing, and I taught them the industry and how to recruit, which is quite ironic considering no one's taught me.
Yeah.
And they all built, and they were doing well, but again, it was micromanaging. I had to be there every single day. I couldn't fault their work ethic. They were great.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, I really did enjoy that. But then I had this, I'd already started the process of Play.me. So I'd gotten a developer and a creative director working with me on a fixed time project. I was getting in there, so I used to then get in the office. I swear I just like having 2 jobs.
Yeah,
I used to get in the office at 6 o'clock, and we would scope out Play.me, and then from like 9, I would be with the girls all day, and then would do Play.me in the evening. So I'd already started scoping it out, and it was, looking like it was going to be a big job. So already I'm getting stretched, and I think it was important for me to go down the road of Play.me, because that is actually how our how recruitment is evolving. If you do want to automate a service or whatever, it was important to me, and I wanted to be agile enough to plug in a bit of tech to our clients.
Okay, so I'm always trying to do this, because I'll take you on all sorts of ways.
No, I think I'm jumping about.
But no, it's fine. So if we get to that point where you've scaled back down, just you and this platform and your clients, what happened next?
Oh yeah, so I scaled back down. So then I'm back on the tools recruitment, which was tough, and I'm not only recruiting to keep Hybrid alive, but then fund Play.me. So I didn't take any external funding. I remember, again, going through such a stressful time. I worked from home a lot of the time. Again, I had a desk at WeWork, so I went down from an office to a desk, and I was having Scrum meetings with like developers, which I didn't even know what Scrum meeting was, and building the tech, and then doing the recruitment. And that was going back to like when I was working at Jo Malone and setting up Hybrid. That was probably the second most stressful, like almost feel like I'm gonna have a breakdown time.
Wow. Yeah,
because again, I think with tech as well, it was like a different language. I didn't know actually how to review code, if it was the right thing that was being built. So I was learning as I
you actually got to that level, learning all that stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it got to the point where actually then I met a guy who wanted to come on board as an NED and manage a lot of the tech for me, and he saw what we'd built so far, and actually we then decided to outsource the rest of it to a company because of the opportunity it has and how scalable it is. It needed to be robust, so we outsourced it. He came on board and helped the communication between me and the developers, because that was tough alone. Like they're all in Moldova, and so I was having calls with them in the morning, building this tech, and then Hybrid. And I had a vision, and they were very good. They needed to get inside my head and what I wanted to build. And I've sent them around the bend, honestly. Like it was hard work for them.
Well, that's another thing I've always struggled with, is assuming people know what I know. And like assuming that if I explain it once, then I was clear. It was clear.
It's clear in my head.
Yeah, my old boss, I think the same guy talking about the box in the room, he pulled me up once and was like, you think very fast, you speak very fast.
Yeah.
Do not expect other people to necessarily pick it up. And it's not even that they're lesser intelligent, or it's just you think you've delivered a message and you haven't. I can tell you now, and no one else is going to tell you, Sean, but you're basically giving people like 10% of what they need. And I was like, never thought of it that way.
Tough.
And I'm still guilty of it now.
Yeah, me
I
too.
try and kick myself into shape, but a lot of, especially business owners, we have to think fast. We have to move fast.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean...
This is why I wear like t-shirts saying like this.
It's
so
okay.
My team, like, it's okay. My team.
Yeah, let's not get onto my clothes. Let's not talk about my outfit again. Come on.
Yeah.
So you're in this world where you've got a person helping project manage the event. That where's it all heading at this point?
Okay, so again, don't know. And this is when I think if I had, I would have got where I wanted to be quicker if I did have a mentor or an NED. But do you know what? Then again, they all come on. A lot of them either want huge equity for doing not much, and sometimes you're just better off doing it on your own. And actually, you can only rely on yourself.
Yeah.
We were building Place.me. I was recruiting on my own, and it got to a point where Place.me was built. Great. So it could completely transact. We could.
How long ago was it?
So we finished building about a year and a bit ago.
Okay.
And then I was like, okay, so that's built. I need to look at hybrid. That's my bread and butter. I need to get that going again. Plus, through hybrid is how we were going to introduce Place.me to the market, to our existing clients,
yeah, exactly,
right?
Yeah.
And also I built it. Remember I said that looking at my consultants, them ringing around freelancers, I actually built it for us to be more efficient within the business also. And if it works for us and makes us more efficient, then surely my clients is going to do the same for them. Yeah. So that was good anyway. And we use it. All of our freelance business goes on there. So when we get briefs, we put it straight on there. We get a freelance brief, credit brief on the application. We get our tailored matches. We can chat and book to freelancers instantly.
Yeah.
So we use it internally. So was it like last year and a half, whatever, a year ago? It's all a bit blurred. I was like, okay, I'm going to start recruiting for hybrid again. But I really made the decision that I wanted senior recruiters.
Yeah.
Senior recruiters that could come on board, manage a portfolio of clients, like their own business, and help me. Well, release me to take Place.me to market properly, and then and build out the business below them. And that's really where we are today, to be honest. We've got a fantastic team of senior recruiters. And
how many have you got now?
So we've got 4.
We've dealt with a couple of them. They're really good.
Yeah.
Comms have been great.
Yeah, great. And they're all kind of extra industry as well, which is really nice. So, and I think that's really important. Yeah. And each of them specialise. So we've got one in design, strategy and planning, client services. I do a lot of the C-suite stuff. And we're actually building out at the moment together. I'm really transparent with them with the business, our 5-year plan and what we want to do with that. And, who's going to perhaps go on to director level and build out and manage that business and let me step away. So yeah, that's literally where we are. And Place.me, so we soft launched it at the end of last year. We've got 2,000 freelancers on there at the moment. 4 of hybrid clients are testing it, using it, putting briefs on there.
So the way the platform would work then, you would sign the client and the candidates, and eventually, especially freelance, it means that your roles aren't involved as much. There might be the odd conversation to check.
Yeah, so it cannibalizes our freelance business completely. Yeah.
But for the scale that you can achieve. Absolutely.
It's subscription, but the idea is that it's reduces the time to hire a freelancer, a quality freelancer, and it's cheaper than using a recruiter.
Yeah. What happens when because I imagine, like, I'm not saying your clients would do this, but if they start with a freelancer, they would then want them direct or whatever. It's all in the contract, it's all in the terms.
It is, but also it's subscription for 12 months, so happily go direct, but you're still paying us for 12 months, and that's why.
So it's actually not a per day, per placement, it's a subscription.
No, and and
it's based on how, do they pay more for the more people?
Yeah. So it's a tiered pricing basically, and based on your business and how many freelancers you hire, you would be tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, but it's cheap, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make it affordable so people can hire freelancers as much as possible, and I said I'm happy to canalize my business for the scale. But pure tech plays should be recurring revenue and
Should be.
subscription. And that's what we wanted it to do. Yeah. Because also the roadmap is that, we build a community and content. So there's a lot more on there, not just booking a freelancer.
Yeah. Have you got plans around how you're going to grow that to the next level?
Yeah, we're just working them out as we go. We have obviously, we've got a roadmap. There's things to create an app, freelance ratings, communities, a dashboard where you can see where you're hiring. And there's lots. So, I mean, it's endless what you can do with that.
What about investment? Like I rarely hear about tech companies bootstrapping. It's usually they get the concept right, and then it's like pumping the money in and growing it. Have you got that? Is that part of the plan?
And I probably should have been smarter and gone somewhere with the concept and not spent my own money. But I believed in it. I needed it for my business. I mean, my mum's like, you could have bought a house. I was like, well, hopefully I can buy lots of houses later. That's the dream. But I don't know. We are going for investment. We will do, but I want to get some more traction first. I think I funded it. I've got it to a point where I want to get it to a point where my clients are paying. And then we're speaking to investors. There are a few angel investors that we're already having conversations with, and I suppose they are acting like mentors with me. But, I really want to prove it with my clients first. And I wasted a lot of time, probably about 8 months last year, just having investment meetings. And then I just realized I'm too early, or I need to be talking to my clients who I'm building this for, and my freelancers who I'm building this for, and get it right. First.
You get blinded by the whole concept of investment. Yeah. I mean, we got accepted onto Cedar's platform after 12 months, and it was a bit like an ego thing. Like, oh, wow. And we were like, what would we even need the money for? You
can give it to me.
Well, but we were like, we didn't actually have a full-on plan as to why we needed it, other than that we knew that money would help us grow. But we ended up not doing it, and we're still talking to potential investors now, and we probably will look at the scale of growth could be much faster.
Yeah.
But it is, I can only talk from other people who have talked. It's about getting into bed with the right people.
100%. And I think I've actually had a couple of people like NEDs and investors that have wanted to come on board, and it hasn't been right. And it is like a marriage. It has to be, it has to be right. But we absolutely, we will need investment, and we know exactly what that is to scale the business to where we want it to go. But I just want to get it to a point where we've got some more traction first, because those conversations are just much better. Because I mean, even me being an investor, if that's the question that I would ask. Well, are your clients using it? Yeah. Are they willing to pay for it? And that's what I want to prove first.
And how are you currently getting candidates onto the platform?
Do you know what we've hardly done any marketing, and we've, as I said, we've only softly launched it, but through just social media and talking to our, it's an evolution of our hybrid freelance business anyway. They're already converted. They were converted from using Freelancer at Upwork, so they love that way of showcasing their work and themselves and having a digital profile. So yeah, we're getting about 10, 15 signups a day, which isn't too bad considering we're not doing anything. No. But it's really interesting the way things are going to go. Soon there won't be CVs. People have these talent IDs where all this information is scraped from social media and what we're interacting with, and you'll have a talent ID that will match you with with jobs out there and things like that. And that's the idea of kind of Place Me. So.
Where do you think the recruiters will end up? What do you think of recruitment agency future?
Yeah.
What's your opinion of that?
I think they're going. So you either have, it looks like at the moment the landscape's going, you've got the disruptors that are just kind of pure tech plays, which are disrupting and cutting out the recruiter. You've then got the big recruitment companies that are trying to innovate, but I don't think they've got people in their businesses that can innovate. Yeah, and they don't want to cannibalize their business at the moment, understandably. So they're looking at things like partnerships and in-house and retained, which is all been going on for a long time, really. I think I'm going to be quite controversial, but I mean, how we've got hybrid now is hybrid is more consultative and human than ever, and then we've got our tech play. But actually, the whole evolution of that is that we move everything onto the platform, and do recruiters become more data inputters to make sure that all those profiles or that data that's being scraped is matching to those right jobs and the companies? Or I don't know.
I think my personal view is that there'll be a complete shift of what recruiters do, but I still think there'll be a need for a human element to it. No matter how much tech's involved. I think the sourcing, the selection, the matching it's got to be an algorithm, right? Yeah. But then the ability to help negotiate, to help advise on, like for example, if a tech company could give you, a piece of tech could give you the 5 companies that you should be looking at, but I still think there'll be a need for, even once you've read all these reviews online, there'll be someone that can help you with that, negotiating your salary. Yeah. Someone who can help you with I actually know the people in the business and I can give you do you know what I mean? It's that, I think there'll be a person for a long time involved. Yeah. But I think there'll be more tech. Yeah. And it's no doubt about it, it's going to happen. Yeah. But some people are completely fucking like deluded that it's not going to happen. And they think, I'm worried about those types. You've got to be thinking next year after, what are you going to be evolving to? Like even inbound marketing, what we do, it's been around for a long time. It's not like a new concept. Yeah. Like other industries have been running inbound campaigns for like 10 years. Yeah. Our industry is so new to it. So like the changes at Hoxo at the moment, we've got the inbound marketing retain piece where we're like, we will help you get leads and results through producing content and basically taking people from an eyeball to a phone call. Yeah. But then what we've had to do, it's a pretty simple way of thinking about it, but we automate that process. But what we've had to do is actually though decompartmentalize that and offer it in services that are a bit more like individual. So if, for example, if you wanted to buy 6 blogs, you could buy 6 blogs. If you wanted to make 1 video, you can buy 1 video. Yeah. Because we know that the industry's not ready. There's always the innovators, which is why we exist. Yeah. But is the market widely ready to invest the same as they would in a salary, but in an AI, tech-enabled, content-enabled? Yeah. They're not really there yet.
No, you're completely right.
But they will be. They'll have to be in a few years.
I mean, I find this. I get a lot of new business meetings to go and pitch Place.me, and then I just come out with a load of hybrid business. Yeah. And they're willing to go, here you go, I'll pay, 15, 18%.
Because they know it.
20%, and outsource it. It is still quite early to have a piece of tech, slick AI tech embedded in the business. And I think the transition is, and a hybrid is really we are the only recruitment industry agency in our sector to have a piece of tech and be humans as well. And we've been, because we're small, we've been agile enough to do that. But the idea, we want the tech to be embedded in the business, so as and when they need that AI and we can Place.me can start learning what they are hiring, and we can make sure that they've got a warm pipeline to that. And I think that's where contingency recruitment is broken, and brands and agencies and all hirers need that warm pipeline. And I think that's where continuous tech and AI can help.
100%. What I was interested in as well is like, I've seen, you were on what was that top recruiter program?
I was on the movement.
That's it, the movement. Yeah. And you got right to the end, didn't you? Like pitching right. I watched a bit of it. I didn't watch it all, but that was Place.me, right? Yeah, so I was asked to go on it. So actually, I was talking to one of the CEOs who sponsors the show. Actually, was talking to me before the show about investing in Place.me, but he wanted to fold hybrid Place.me and me into his business, and I'm too early to do that. I wouldn't get a good deal, etc. And I've got too much opportunity in front of me to try it on my own. But he said, let's go on this show, and it was basically 6 entrepreneurs locked in a castle with 32 CEOs from around the world grilling you on your business. And it was ultimately for investment, and I got offered investment on the show, but it wasn't the right deal, so I declined it. What was that like as an experience?
Oh, amazing.
Enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was amazing. But I can see how when people come out of like Big Brother and Love Island, they need support, because that was only 6 days in a castle, and you come out and it's just like, it's just like it's such an unnatural environment. And it was tough, like every single day, and these guys are briefed to grill you. So every single day you are having to promote and defend your business. Plus they are pouring champagne down your neck from 12 o'clock every single day. Really? I mean, I said I wouldn't drink, but actually you're so nervous, you actually do. But it was I would do it over and over again. Yeah. It was wicked.
So what that leads me on to is your personal brand. Like I think we spoke about a year ago about it, and I don't think you've necessarily done as much as you could, but you've still, in my opinion, got a brand that is recognizable. And how has that impacted your business? The fact that people have seen you and heard about what you're doing.
Yeah, I think no one really knew. Like I need to do a lot more of my personal brand. I'm so in my businesses at the moment. You know, it's hard. I think no one realised how much I actually did, and that I actually, you know, Hybrid's mine and they're both mine 100%, and I don't think anyone really realised that, and that I built the technology and well, me personally, but how much I'd actually done on my own, I think. I think that's mainly it. But
you understand the power of brand and how that can impact.
Yeah, completely. And you know, all the people that I've hired in the past have, you know, they've hired because they've wanted to come work with me. And look, my clients, I'm still really the main person that does all the new business, and my clients work with me because they like me. So yeah, 100%. It's you know, at the end of the day, business is about people, and you work with who you like. And
100%. So where's the future going? I mean, you've got this 5-year plan. Can you tell us a little bit more?
So we are hiring at the moment for Hybrid. So
what are you looking for?
So we're looking for senior recruiters, but also resources as well. We've got a 5-year plan to build that business out. It's not huge, but still like 10 people. So it's sustainable, profitable business. Based in Moorgate. I mean, if that's the right place to be at that time.
Where do you? I guess why would someone join you? What is it about your business that they would get excited about, and what's different? Because there's 30,000 recruitment companies in this country alone.
I think they need to be excited about, I mean, we are doing something different with our tech. So even though they're coming on board and working within Hybrid, which is, you know, working with some of the top creative agencies in London and brands well, actually in the world, they're also going to be talking and selling Place.me and being involved in that development every single day, which I think's exciting.
So there's a solution sales, software sales element almost as well.
100%, and they're going to get a kickback from those sales as well.
Great.
But also just being really transparent for the journey of Place.me, and yeah, the kind of that tech journey.
So they've got to be up for the fact that you're a small business, you're a growing business, you've got 2 clear facets.
Yeah.
Based in central London. Quite sociable.
Yeah.
Sounds like a cool.
Yeah, really sociable. And often, you know, we're really flexible with our working as well. Like we have an office, but anyone can work at home, or they can work in a sunbed in Dubai, or at the moment that, I mean, will it change? I don't know. I mean, lots of people are actually working like that now. Like Envision don't even have the company Envision. They don't even have an office.
Well, we've got 50% of our team in here and 50% work at home.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we had like 2 developers that were just sat in the corner. We had a writer that was sat in the corner, and it was like, there's music on. We've got the sales team and the account management team that make noise, and then the rest of them were like, shut up. And it was just like, until we're big enough to have these big pods and rooms,
exactly.
we're like, you know what?
You don't need it. And I think people underestimate, like, if you get the right people and they're sold, they will work. And so, yeah, they can come in and be flexible and work from anywhere.
You need quite a mature person, I think.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, when we start building out that lower level, then things might change. But yeah, it'll definitely be an Instagram-friendly office, so you can, you know, put more on social media.
That's cool. So you're hiring. You're growing the business. What else is in the 5-year plan?
Well, continuing to talk to investors, obviously, for Place.me, and just following that journey, really. Yeah. So
it could, I mean, if you're going to go in for investment, everything could change dramatically.
Yeah, you know, hybrid is that kind of normal business growth. You bring on more business, you get on more staff, you get more profitable, whatever. You know, that's kind of normal. Place.me, if we're packaging up the kind of client sale a bit more tightly at the moment. I'm working with someone at the moment with that. If we get some really good traction and we get investment, like that could, you know, override hybrid and sell much quicker, or, you know, get much traction much quicker. So who knows? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of opportunity, and I'm just making sure that, you know, we are firing on all cylinders. And
wow. Yeah. Well, I wish you the best of luck. I think It sounds awesome. I've kept an eye on everything for the last 12 months. We have worked with your agency. We firsthand can say how good you are. One final question I want to ask you is, what's the best thing for you about being an entrepreneur? You're
in control of your own destiny. And I think even though it can be very stressful having your own business, I actually found it so stressful working in a company where there's so much politics, someone else is in control of your own destiny. And, you know, I found that more stressful coming to work, and other people's stress and how, you know, managing other people's expectations. Being in control of your own destiny.
I think I like the fact that everything's on my watch in terms of being in early, whatever. It's on me. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
And it's so like we're coming into an office and making sure someone is there 9 till 5. That just doesn't work anymore. Like I know that my most productive time is like 7 in the morning to about 11. Then I kind of
I'm similar.
nosedive.
100%. Cool. Well, look, Caroline, if you don't mind, obviously I'll be tagging you in all this content.
Please.
Every single person I've interviewed so far has been reached out to by certain people, right? And one guy phoned me last week. So Steve Rawlinson up in Newcastle, Samuel Knight, he said he hired a recruiter that phoned him up, said, I've just listened to your podcast. I loved it and I want to work for you. What do I need to do? They weren't a recruiter at the time, they were a graduate, but he said he came in, he was wicked, he started and they're really delighted. And there's been so many success stories so far. Where should people reach out to you? Is it on LinkedIn? Is that the best place?
LinkedIn. We've got social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook for Place.me and Hybrid.
You're happy for people to ask you questions?
100%. Like, you know, we are looking for, just really either young, hungry people that want to come on board with both the brands. We are looking for part-time recruiters. We're looking for senior recruiters to come on board. Like, to be honest,
but it might be someone who just wants your advice and you're hoping to.
Or, if you want to have my advice, if it's worth anything, yeah, of course. And also clients, if you're a brand or an agency that are looking for a boutique team that, really care, then give us a shout and give us a shout.
Well, thanks so much for giving your time for the rag. What I would say is, let's get you back in 12 months. Let's have a part 2 of this, because I think you going through investment could be dramatically different. And I'd love to hear that story again. But thanks so much. We'll be airing very soon, and we'll speak to you then.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.